Good morning. Welcome to day 4 of 21 days of yoga. We'll start today in a child's pose position. So knees wide, feet together. Take your time. Forehead to the floor. And breathe slowly and fully. Really letting your back, your hips, your arms, allowing everything to relax as you breathe. Take one more breath here, and as you exhale, slowly start to walk your hands back up towards your knees. From here, we'll slowly make our way to a cat-cow position. And you can begin your cat-cow whenever you like, at whatever pace feels good for your body today. So really honoring the speed at which your body wants to be moving. And also stopping and just breathing. When you find that sweet spot, when you find the spot that just needs a little extra love, needs a little extra breath, hang out there for a minute, chill out, breathe. And again, in cat-cow, the toes can be tucked under or the feet can be flat. It's totally up to you. And to get a little bit more lift from your back when you're in cat, tuck in the belly button, like almost suck in your stomach, and tuck in the chin as well. Finding the joy in the movement in your body. Finding the joy in the present moment and your awareness in it. Yoga is such a beautiful way to just connect us, not just to our body, but to life, to the present moment. Let's take one more breath here, wherever you are. And as you exhale, slowly come back to a neutral position. Take a couple breaths here. And if you remember from day 1, we did big hip circles. So starting in a tabletop position, as you can see in the video, if you're not sure, drawing a big circle with your hips. So try to reach the total outer edges as far as you can make your circles with your hips, and really feeling the femur, the head of the femur moving around the hip socket, feeling fascia breaking up in places that it hasn't been accessed for a while, and moving at whatever pace feels good. Slowing it down is always a good idea. So just 2 more rounds here, or 2 more breaths. On your next exhale, coming back to center, take a breath here in a neutral position and begin your circles to the left. Also, if your wrists are getting sore, if you look at the video, I'm just taking a moment to do a couple wrist circles. And also I want to remind you to engage your fingers. Try not to put all the pressure in the palms of your hand. That's what's really causing a lot of irritation to the wrists. So you want to almost imagine and begin your hip circles as well while I'm talking here. But think about your fingers and your wrists as you move. So imagine you're like an animal and you're clawing the ground. So visualize the pads of your fingers being claws. Okay? When I first heard that, I was like, Thank you. That's exactly what I needed to hear in order to get it right. So hopefully that did that for you as well. The pads of your fingers are little claws. So that's how you want to engage your hands anytime you're in a yoga position where you're putting a lot of weight or pressure on your wrists. It should not hurt your wrists. It's normal for them to be a little sore, but not painful, you know? So claws. And really enjoying this big circular motion, feeling the hips. If the left feels different than the right, that's okay. We're just being, like the Buddha said, the witness. No judgment, just witnessing. Oh, today my left feels different than my right. And that is it. Nothing further than that. Just witnessing your body where it's at. Doesn't that feel so nice? Okay, I apologize. So from a cat-cow position, whenever finish up your circle, make your way to a tabletop position. And if you can see in the video here, I lifted my left leg, my right hand, I reached back to grab my foot, and I'm lifting up, up, up as high as I can, and really enjoying the stretch of my arm, my shoulder, my hip, my ankle. If this doesn't feel good on your body today, keep your arm and leg both extended straight and forward, and just use this as a nice little core workout. I eventually was going to throw a little bit of core. I can't not. Our core is so important. When we have a strong core, our body feels better. Our back feels better. We feel stronger. We feel more stable, especially as we age. Having a strong core is so important. Okay, I'm still talking here, so hopefully you're watching the video and following along too. So I switched sides. So this time it's the right leg up and the left arm. But again, if this is something that your body's not feeling, keep the arm and the leg straight. One reaching forward, one reaching back, making a straight line with your body and engaging your core. That's a great move. On your next exhale, slowly come out. Make your way to a seated position with the legs wide. Yeah, we're doing a little more with the inner thighs, the adductors. So bringing your legs to a V, but not to the point of pain. Bring them in a little bit, and just enough so that you feel a stretch, but not pain, okay? And let's give some love to the wrist. So just doing circles. And feel free to come out of your V whenever you feel ready. Hang out there for a little while longer if you like. We're still doing some self-love for the wrists. So grab your right wrist and fold it inward. So flex it and fold it inward at the same time, and use your other hand to apply pressure. I hope that makes sense. So it's flexed and a turning inward. That's the best way to get a nice rich wrist stretch, and you'll feel it in the top of your hand as well. So switch to the other side. We're doing this just to relieve pressure. We were on our wrist quite a bit. So make a fist, flex the wrist, and rotate it inward. And use your other hand to apply pressure to do that. Beautiful. Let's pull the fingers back. Start on whatever hand you like, using your other hand to assist you. So fingers back, and the thumb is special, so the thumb gets its own stretch. And switch hands, fingers on the other side, and the thumb. Good, I'm a little ahead of myself in the video, I apologize. Okay, shake out the hands, and let's open the arms wide. Cross your right arm over, pull with the left. Enjoy a nice little stretch in your shoulder. On your exhale, release, open the arms wide, and switch to the other side. Breathing normally. I can't believe this wasn't straight. It looked so straight to me this morning. I like triple checked it. Okay, let's stretch out the arms wide, bring both arms up, and let's give some love to the triceps. So right arm comes down, try to touch your shoulder blade with your right arm. So the same arm that's bent, reach for the shoulder blade. Use your left hand, grab the right elbow, and pull it inward. Again, being really easy, gentle, and remembering to breathe. And you can always release and do a modification if it feels a little too intense or a little too uncomfortable for today. Honor your body. Try again another day. Okay, let's exhale. Open the arms wide and switch. So the left hand comes down, pardon me, reaching for the shoulder blade on the same side. Right hand reaches over and pulls the elbow inward toward the midline of the body. I feel like I might have just gotten my lefts and rights confused there. I really apologize if I did that. It happens sometimes. But if not, ignore me. On your next exhale, release. And let's take a few moments here to just roll the shoulders. Breathe. Move the spine around. Pardon me. Draw circles with the chest in both directions. Just getting the spine awake and happy. And finding our way to a comfortable cross-legged position. Place your hands on your knees, either down flat or in a mudra position, so the first finger touching the thumb with the palms up. Just take some time here to breathe and feel the effects that the practice has had on your body and your mind so far today. Okay, as you exhale, let's extend the legs out in front of you. Place both arms along sides. Shake out the knees. Now slide the feet in so the knees will bend. Keep your feet about hip width apart and begin to do a windshield wiper movement from side to side. And as always, just moving at whatever pace your body is saying yes to today, okay? So if one side you go down and it feels just so good, stay there, breathe, enjoy it. Or maybe today the moving back and forth is what's really serving you and your body is really vibing with. So doing whatever feels best to you. Okay, so now we're going into my favorite hip stretch of all time, but it's really, I'm not gonna lie, it's intense, but it's the greatest thing ever, and your hips, your back, your whole body is going to feel amazing after, and you're not gonna feel sore, I promise you. So, starting from a wide V, bring one knee in, and you want to make a straight line in front of your body and flex the foot. So your knee and your ankle should make a straight line. Then you'll bring the other leg and stack them. So you want to stack the ankle on the knee and the knee above the ankle. So even if your knee is not touching your ankle, you'll see in the video that mine's not touching. So your knee might be higher up than mine or lower, which is totally fine, as long as it's above the knee. So I hope you understand what I mean by stacking. Just like in cat-cow, we stack the shoulders over the wrists and the hips over the ankles. Right now, we're stacking ankle, knee, knee, ankle. Cool? Use your hands to kind of push up into the floor to keep your spine straight, and do your best to just breathe and relax here. If you are super tight in the hips, this might feel awful. Please just breathe and stay. If it feels like something's gonna break, it's not. It's just a very intense hip opener, but our hips are the gold mine of our body. They hold on to like so much emotional and mental baggage and trauma and stress, and honestly, it's not uncommon to have a really visceral response when we are experiencing release from our hips. So if you feel the need to cry right now, that's not weird. It's totally common. Please honor that as well. Allow yourself the energetic release that comes from the physical release. There's always an energetic and an emotional counterpart to the physical aspects of our body. Okay? So very intense, but it's my favorite for a reason, because I always feel amazing afterwards. When my body is really sore, my back, my hips, I always turn to this. It's called Agni Stambhasana, fire log pose, because it's like two logs stacked one on top of another. I really hope you love it as much as I do. So let's take 3 more breaths here. I'm not sure if I said, but flex both of the feet. We want to do this to protect the knees, okay? And when you're coming out, bring the arms behind your back and start to lean back into your arms and come out of this so slow. So slow. Slowly straighten your legs. You'll slowly your legs will come back to normal. They might just take a second to adjust. And this is something we always did in Taekwondo after a really intense leg workout and lots of kicks. So just making 2 fists and using the outside edges of your hands to kind of knead your legs. Give them a little gentle beating on the sides, the insides. It'll help bring them back to normal. So we're switching sides. So whatever leg you had on the bottom last time will be on the top this time. I don't think I said a specific leg. So as you're coming into it, moving so slowly and so carefully and mindfully. Like I said, it's called fire log pose. It's like 2 logs, one on top of another. The knee over the ankle, ankle over the knee. If your knee is way up, like I'm showing in the video right now, that's okay. That's totally normal. That just means this is exactly where your body needs to be and wants to be. Okay, so just breathe. And honestly, this is one of those poses that does not take a long time to see big results in. So you're going to notice the knee will start to lower, probably even just during this time right now. Flex both of the ankles to protect the knees. Make sure you're sitting up straight. It always helps to grab your glutes and kind of pull them back and pull them out of the way. That way you can get on your sit bones a little bit easier. Sitting up straight, using your hands to push into the sides. Push down into the floor to sit up straight. And just breathe. Breathe. Focus on your breath, not the discomfort. Breathe through the discomfort. One of the greatest lessons in yoga that applies to life, that we practice in yoga, which is one of the many ways that yoga is practice for life, is that we're learning to breathe through the discomfort. Breathing through the discomfort. And in discomfort in life and in yoga, that's when we grow. Discomfort happens right outside our comfort zone. And that's where growth and expansion happens within our body, our mind, our spirit, our life. Yoga is practice for life. Like, how cool is that? Couple more breaths here. So lean back into the arms and so very slowly start to make your way out by first leaning back and slowly take your top foot off the bottom knee. Extend your legs out in front of you. Shake out the knees. And just like the Taekwondo thing, make some fists and just get some blood flow hitting the top of your thighs, your quads, the outside, your IT band. Do some little squeezes, reach for your toes. Just give your legs a little bit of love here. Okay, and let's finish off with nice forward fold today. So sitting up straight before you fold forward, leading with the chest. Keep your head up and your back straight for as long as you possibly can. And once you've folded to the point where you can't keep your back straight anymore, then it's okay to allow yourself to curl forward and allow your head to drop and feel heavy, so you can actually feel the stretch in the back of your neck as well. It's a beautiful stretch all the way from your Achilles tendon to the back of your neck. How awesome is that? And if it's feeling really tight, it's always helpful to come back up out of it. Sit for a second, keep the chest lifted, take a little break, have a couple breaths, fold forward again. And the key is slow, mindful movements. Not pushing yourself to pain. Discomfort, yes. We want to leave our comfort zone, right? But we don't want pain. So it's finding that sweet spot. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And on your next exhale, slowly start to walk your hands up your legs. Give your legs a little rub. And let's slowly make our way down to the floor, lying flat on your back. Bringing the legs up towards the ceiling and moving the ankles around, pedaling the feet, doing circles with the ankles, just moving your feet and your ankles, stretching them whatever way feels good, whatever speed feels good. Allowing some natural drainage to happen, activating the soleus so we get some good blood flow happening all throughout our body. And slowly, whenever you're ready, bringing your knees into your chest, squeeze them in for a hug, and let's do some rocking from side to side. Just a few times, a few breaths. And on your next exhale, slowly extend to a nice big stretch. Spread your arms, your legs, your fingers, your toes. And place everything down on the floor. Just allow it to land wherever it wants to. So if you want to keep your arms up, that's cool. If you want to bring them down by your sides into a Shavasana position, go ahead. And we'll take our last couple breaths here as we end our practice for today. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure preparing these sequences for you. So I'm going to rock and roll my way up to a seated position, but you can stay wherever you need for as long as you like. I'll see you tomorrow.